Hello, my name is Janet Brito, and I will be discussing positive psychology and Buddhist psychology and the effects on orphan children and children of unhealthy parents. Positive psychology is a current movement in psychology that emphasizes healthy functioning, with concern for immediate experience and positive emotions such as happiness. Positive psychology emphasizes the development of healthy lifestyles and cognitive habits that contribute to resiliency in the face of threat. There are three pillars of positive psychology. The first is positive subjective experience. Intrinsic striving and a meaningful life are some examples. The second is positive traits. Some examples of this is optimism and resiliency. And the third is positive institutions, and an example of this is schools. Positive subjective experience. Intrinsic striving. Intrinsic motivation refers to doing an activity for the inherent satisfaction of the activity itself. Edward Deci's concept of intrinsic motivation led to a more refined model called self-determination theory. It proposes that people innately have three important psychological needs: competence, autonomy, and relatedness. When the basic needs are satisfied, self-motivation is enhanced. People work better and are more creative and have higher self-esteem in the sense of well-being. Intrinsic motivation can help orphan children because, unlike children who have their biological parents to help them get through life, orphan children must use intrinsic motivation to help overcome life's challenges. Positive affect and satisfying relationships are among the factors that contribute to the judgment that life is meaningful. Gordon Allport described one basis for finding a coherent sense of meaning in life is religion. Positive psychology has found that some religious values, such as forgiveness, contributes to a person's well-being. We depend on others for survival. Forgiveness is an adaptive mechanism that helps restore disrupted relationships within those close to us, thus enhancing survival. Children of unhealthy parents who learn this survival skill and learn to forgive their parents will be able to have a more positive life and thus live a meaningful life. Positive psychology research affirms that happiness is increased by doing good for others. These altruistic social behaviors enhance happiness by contributing to a meaningful life. Positive traits: optimism and resiliency. Optimism is a tendency to expect positive outcomes rather than negative ones. An optimistic person expects that the future will be better than the past. This is an important trait for an orphan child or children of unhealthy parents because it gives them hope for the future. Resiliency is the strength to survive stressful situations or those in which one was mistreated without experiencing the usual negative consequences of such experiences. This is also an important trait because it will allow the children to survive the stressful situations that they are faced with. Positive institutions. Schools. Schools have the potential to support children's development of resiliency and other healthy traits and habits. Schools should aim to develop strengths of all children as reflected in the measures of life satisfaction. School counselors are advised to take an approach called developmental advocacy, supporting strengths that develop resiliency in students. Buddhist psychology. Buddhism teaches acceptance of experience, including the experience of human suffering. Buddhist psychology urges self-control and discipline of self through mediation. This approach emphasizes mental discipline and restraint. Buddhist psychology, the Dalai Lama and compassion. As the Dalai Lama explains, the first deep and heavy experience as a child is being held in the mother's arms once they have been born. This is an example of love and compassion. Another example is the mother breastfeeding. This is also a symbol of love and conveys the innateness of compassion to human nature. The Dalai Lama and Karen Horney's theory. The Dalai Lama explained that people who received maximum affection were more emotionally stable and much happier. Horney believed that the unconscious is a powerful determinant of personality and that childhood conflicts are important. As described in the text, infants and young children are highly dependent on their parents. It makes them feel safe and protected. In less ideal situations, the child develops basic anxiety. Horney describes this as the feeling a child has of being isolated and helpless in a potentially hostile world, which then leads to basic hostility, the feeling of anger towards their parents. Experiencing this will cause the child to have problems for the rest of their lives, or as the Dalai Lama explained in the video, they will be emotionally unstable because of the lack of affection.